Hello freaks, there he is, the DX12 Batman with modifications. I'm just going to use this video to highlight the modifications that I'm aware of, both the ones I've done and have not done, and hopefully I'll remember to cover them all, and hopefully I don't run out of battery, and hopefully I don't run out of space on the memory card. So I'll get right into it. First of all, we want to look at the cowl. I rather like the DX12 cowl, so I'm going to keep it. Some people might be inclined to replace it with either a Medicom head or a custom. I am eager to see what the custom looks like, but the Medicom head, to my eye, looks too big for this body. So, as of now, in my opinion, the best option is to use the stock head with some modifications. So I'll go over the modifications that I've done and others that I've heard of. So, first of all, I've replaced the stock mouthpiece with a modified DX2 mouth. And it comes out real easy. You just use the regular tool that they give you and it pops out. Even though I've sanded off the peg in the back, you don't really need it. So what I've done is I've sanded the top a little, the bottom at the chin quite a bit, and the back so that it sits in deeper. What you want to be careful of is to not do any sanding along the sides, because this face is already more narrow than the stock faces, so it will never look quite perfect on the sides, but you're just going to make it worse if you do any sanding on the sides at all, so avoid that. So what I did is I sanded the top and the bottom, and again a little bit of the back. What I use for that is just an emery board that you would use to file your nails. I had one somewhere and it appears that I have misplaced it. At any rate, you know what an emery board looks like, and so I use this and slide it against the emery board rather than using the emery board to slide against the faceplate. So at any rate, you do that filing, and then what I did is I heated it up, just dropped it in boiling water for a few seconds, took it out, and then pushed it into place, and then stuck it in the freezer for a little while, and it goes in real easy now, and I think it looks pretty good. Better than any of the stock faceplates at any rate. And regarding the stock faceplates, I recommend modifying them as well. Simply sanding the back around the peg. You can leave the peg in place, again using an emery board, and it allows it to sit deeper into the face. If you compare this to the stock one, if you have it, you'll notice that the stock face does stick out quite a bit, and I don't know, it looks like a horse to me, especially this mouth. But when it's filed so that it sits deeper into the face, I actually think this is usable in the right pose, and you'd have to have him fighting with Bane, I would say. So that's the faceplates. Now on to the eyes. If you have eyes that are crossed, and mine were, you can make it so that they are no longer parallel. Hopefully you can see this. The little joystick, I have it stuck to a piece of masking tape so I don't lose all the pieces, but that little joystick can easily be removed by simply pulling out the little pins that run almost like on a hinge on a door, that run through there and hold it in place. So look for those little pins. They catch the light when you shine a light in there, and see if you can find something pointy like a needle to push them out of place. Actually, one of mine fell out on accident, and that's how I learned about this, and I was able to get the other one out real easy. And then as far as posing them, you just use the tweezers grab a hold of it, and then I actually move the head while holding this, and I can get a very precise position with the eyes. That increased my appreciation for the figure quite a bit when I fixed that. Okay, now the size of the eyes is an issue for a lot of people. So a couple members of the Sideshow Freaks boards have painted the eyelids, and just doing that goes a long way to making them look smaller, eliminating the pink that Hot Toys painted. The pink is nice and realistic looking, but it does increase the size of the eyes, the appearance of the size. So to paint that is one option. Otherwise, to put epoxy, black epoxy in there to actually make the eyes squint has looked quite excellent on a couple of the modifications that I've seen done. So I will likely do one of those two modifications at some point. Alright, now on to the neck. The neck that you're seeing here is not modified in any way. Well, that's not totally true. It is modified in that I dremeled off some of the base. It doesn't affect the way it articulates with the body, as far as I can tell. My intention was to make it so that he could tilt more. I don't know if it made any difference or not, but it doesn't make it sit any lower, that modification. The Dremel tool that I used is the sanding tool to do that. I've seen people do the same thing to the top, to sand there so that the head sits a little lower. I may do that at some point, but really I'm quite happy with the neck length stock. But if you want it shorter, it's very, very easy to do. All you do is take a needle nose pliers, stick it in there, and then pull apart. And as you can see, that starts to split apart. It's going to be a little harder the first time because it is glued in place. And then you just remove that little, I guess we're calling it a grommet. You remove that, put it back together, and it sits lower then. Now, with the way I've futzed the custom cape I have here, I think his neck looks too short with that modification, so I've reversed it, which is very simple to do. You just open it up again. This is a reversible mod. Just open it again, stick it back in place, and voila, you now have the neck stock. Again, if I hadn't done this dremeling down here. So that's the way I like it. So I like the original length, and again, that's with this custom cape futz the way I have it. I think it makes the neck length look perfect. Now onto the cape. This is a custom cape made by Al Ferrigno. This is the short rayon cape, and installation is quite simple. It's just stuffed in the little holes that the stock cape goes into. And the way I get that in place is I use a small screwdriver, straight flathead screwdriver, and just tuck that in there. And it does take a while. I know that there's some variance from cape to cape and how long this part of the cape that stuffs in is. The one I have is quite long, as you can see, so it takes a while for me to get that all stuffed underneath. It's basically going down underneath the chest armor, so it's just a process of slowly stuffing it in there. And you can kind of get in here and drag it down a little bit. And once you get enough in there, you get quite a lot to work with that you can futz, and I think you can make it look like there's a nice slope to the shoulders rather than so square. I think it just looks too square, which adds length to the neck. So I like it. I like it with the custom cape for that reason, and just because it hangs so nice. You can pick it up, move it around, set it down, and it just bam, hangs the way it's supposed to be. You don't have to futz it to try to get it to look in scale. It just is in scale. So I much prefer the custom cape for that reason. Okay, so get that out of the way. Now onto the shoulder pads. I did a very simple modification to the shoulder pads. All I did is I heated them up with, I just did this today. I heated them up with a hair dryer, and they get real soft real fast, and then you just kind of mold them into place, because otherwise they look a little bit, I don't know, bulky. Whereas in the movie, the shoulder pads are quite molded to his shoulders. So I just squeezed it and then held it in place, kind of just close to the freezer, and they've held that shape real nice. And I just think they look much more form-fitting. Looks like I'm running out of time here, so I will have to do a part 2.